everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I'm your host, Emily Hayden, and today we have a solo episode. Today we are going to be discussing 3 reasons you are unfulfilled. Before we get into today's episode, we have a few announcements that I want to share with you guys. The first announcement is that we are about to hit 100,000 downloads per month on the podcast here. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much to everybody that continues to share it. I feel like in the last month or so, we've had an increase in people sharing, which has directly resulted to an increase in new listeners. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm so excited to have you guys. I post these on every audio platform as well as on YouTube. So if you ever care to watch, feel free to check out the YouTube channel and make sure to subscribe if you are watching from there and enjoy watching the episodes. I am really excited about the direction of this podcast. I feel like it's taken me a very long time to get to where I'm at now. And now I feel that I just have this momentum with the show. And I just really want to thank you guys so much for doing your part and being a part of sharing the message, sharing the light, and sharing, everything that you've learned from this show with other people, because it's making an impact. And you guys get to be a part of that by doing something as simple as sharing something that has impacted you. So I just really wanted to say thank you guys and to shout you out and let you know that I really appreciate my listeners, and I love when I get to meet you guys in person. I hope that if you ever see me around and you're a listener of the show, that you will stop me, you will share with me what your journey has been, what your, journey of evolving has looked like. I love sharing that in those journeys with you guys. So please never hesitate to say hi and share those things with me. Next announcement, Evolve the Retreat. The dates are May 12th through 15th. So what you can expect: Alpha Land, Jiu-Jitsu, meditation, journaling, optional devotional, food, fun, and so much more. The heart behind this event is to have a ton of fun, learn a lot, create deep, meaningful connections with each other, yourself, and your spirituality through things like practicing stillness and simply coming with an open mind and open heart, ready to receive all that there is for you. This is going to be a very limited event. I do expect it to fill up with just clients alone. So if you're a client and you're listening to this and the tickets are live, make sure to grab a ticket before they all get sold out. I believe we'll have about 30 spots. We are confirming with the different locations just to make sure if we can accommodate a little bit more or a little bit less, then that's what we'll have to go with. But I just wanted to announce it because if you're getting ready to book your flights, then those are the dates you'd want to fly in and out, is the 12th through the 15th. The 12th, I would say the first event's probably going to be around 6 p.m., like kind of just like a check-in, meet and greet type of thing. So if you can be there by 6 p.m. or so, that would be great. If you're going to fly out on the 15th, I would say try to fly out after noon, like 12 p.m. That would be great. So more information coming on that. If the tickets are live by the time that this gets posted, then it will be the first link down below in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description box below. So make sure to check that out. It'll have all the information there. Next thing is actually, I think that was all the announcements. That's actually all the announcements. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Today is going to be a short and sweet episode, but it's a message that I think people, I would say, want to hear, but I think there are some people that might not want to hear this. So if you're somebody who has the heart posture of wanting to hear the truth and you're ready to face these things, then keep listening. It may be hard for you to, maybe like this hard pill to swallow, but it might be something that you need to hear in order to create the change in your life that you are looking for. So 3 reasons why you are unfulfilled. Number 1 is because you're tolerating a life that is lesser than the one that you were created for because you have fear. And the politically correct thing to say would be, it's not lesser, it's just different. But the truth is, if you were created for more, then it is lesser than the life that you were created for. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say it in a way that sounds pretty and fancy and with lots of sprinkles on it, even though I do love sprinkles. You got to hear it. Like, you got to hear the real thing. You got to hear the raw thing, because sometimes it strikes a chord within you that sugarcoating it in a different way, it wouldn't do that for you. It wouldn't have the same result. So you are tolerating a life that is lesser than the one that you were created for, because you have fear, because you're living in fear. You got to recognize when you're living in fear. When you are living in fear, that is the heart posture, and that is the energy that you then carry into every single aspect of your life. So you think that you're having fear in this one area of life, but if you're living from a place of fear, you are carrying this energy that is not allowing you to tap into the abundant mentality and to the abundance that life has. Life is abundant, but if you are coming from a place of fear, you're never going to experience that. Your experience is directly related to your perspective and to your heart posture. So recognize when you are operating from a place of fear. Are you operating from fear? Are you operating from scarcity, from lack? Or are you operating from abundance? Are you operating from faith and hope and courage? You have to really identify where on the spectrum you lie, because once you identify that, then you can start to take action towards the direction that you want to be going. Fear. You fear, what if it doesn't work out? You fear, what if you fail? And the result of that is that you keep yourself small. Most people keep themselves so busy and so distracted that they never feel the truth of where they're actually at. People avoid the truth sometimes by numbing themselves. Sometimes it's with drugs and alcohol. Sometimes it's with people and over pleasuring themselves in so many different ways, whether that's through money or sex or in Instagram fame or so many things that can kind of fulfill this longing or this desire. They can kind of give you this quick, serotonin release, whether that's through likes or, a substance or whatever it is that allows you to be distracted and to not feel what's always there. But in the moments of stillness, in the moments of presence, which usually for these people are far and few between, that's where they feel that aching, that longing. Your heart, you don't understand, your heart and your soul for some reason have this longing and this desire for more, and you don't understand where it comes from. Sometimes you don't even know exactly why you're feeling this way, but it's because your heart and your soul are trying to get a message to you. They're trying to tell you that there is so much more for your life. And sometimes you're so busy and you're so distracted and you keep your schedule as filled up as possible that you rarely practice stillness. You rarely get into, this heart posture of presence. Because when you're still and when you're present, that's when you actually have the opportunity to feel. You're not numbing, you're not distracted, you're not shying away, but you're actually feeling what's always there. And that can sometimes be a really difficult place to be for some people, because the truth is your intuition and your inner knowing, it knows too much. And you can't unfeel and you can't unknow certain things. And there's a lot of people that are not ready to face the truth. They're not ready to face their own truth, because if they know that they know that they know that where they're at is not where they belong, it's going to require action. They can't unknow that. They can't unfeel that. So oftentimes they avoid that. I want to encourage you guys that if that is you, if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I know I've been avoiding this because I know there are changes in my life that I need to make, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable where I'm at. It's predictable. I know the outcome. I know that I'll survive if I stay here. And at the root of everything, we all desire to survive, right? Everything we do in our life is designed so that we can survive. But what we do and what we create to survive is simply based on our own perception. So you think that you're creating and cultivating this environment for you to survive, but the truth is that's where the highest version of you is dying. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy that our perspective and life experience creates this survival instinct inside of us, and we think that it's helping us survive, but the highest version of ourselves is actually dying. And you have to recognize that. You have to recognize and understand survival is not thriving. There's a version of you that can thrive. There's an abundant version of you. There is a version of you that is overflowing with love and with peace and with gratitude. And you may listen to this and think, there's no way. Like, I'm so far from that. There's no way that that exists for me. Emily that exists for you because of the practices that you have in your life, of the discipline that you have in your life, of the gratitude you have for your life. But I've had a different experience and that's not for me. Recognize that as a lie. There are so many things and so many thoughts, so many limiting beliefs that will come into your mind, and they are only true simply because you have believed them and decided that they are true. What if you believed and decided different for yourself? What if you believed and decided, hey, that's meant for me too? Peace and love and abundance and gratitude, these things can exist for me. Yeah, I'm far from those things right now. But why don't I try on this new belief? Why don't I get rid of these limiting beliefs that are keeping me stuck, keeping me in lack, keeping me in scarcity, keeping me in toxic situations that I don't belong in? Why don't I get rid of all those things? And why don't I just try on this new belief, try it on for size? And why don't I practice this new belief? And why don't I start to align my actions with this new belief? What do you think would happen in your life if you were to do that and you were to do it consistently over a long period of time? I guarantee you the life that you would be living is completely different than the life that you're living right now. So I encourage you to get still. I encourage you to practice presence, being truly present in the moment. So many people have no idea how to practice presence. The first thing you got to do is stop distracting yourself. The first thing you have to do is actually disconnect yourself from everything that serves as a distraction. Even a good thing can be a distraction if it's keeping you from the stillness and the presence that holds all of the clarity and knowing and intuition that you're looking for. Sometimes so many people are lacking this clarity and this vision and this purpose in their life, and they don't realize it's literally inside of them at all times. But you have so many things that are grasping for your attention, so many things that are intentionally distracting you that you can't see what's been there all along. So I encourage you, practice stillness, practice presence. There's so many different modalities that you can practice in order to get into this place. So look and research and try new things. If one thing doesn't work for you, try it a few more times. Don't just try it once and say it doesn't work for you. Give it a real try. Try out different ways of doing that same exact thing. And if that doesn't work for you, try something else. We're all different and different things work for different people. Some of my favorite practices to practice stillness and meditation and things like that. Sometimes I have to do an array of things to disconnect myself from all the distractions before I can ever get present. Sometimes I can't go from my regular life to just sitting there and practicing stillness and peace and presence. Sometimes I have to go kill a HIIT style workout. I have to expend all of this energy, and then I have to go for a walk in nature, and I have to clear my mind. I have to be off of my social media accounts. I have to be off of my phone, away from notifications. I can't check my email. I have to read to get myself present in reading the book and not thinking about situations and things. I have to play piano so that I can get out of my head completely and into the flow of just my spirit and my soul. And then from that place, I can sit and I can be still and I can ask questions and I can receive that inner guidance and that knowing. And for me, it's communication from God. Then I can actually hear it. So find out what you need to do in order to practice stillness inside of your life and get present, and decide in your mind before you go into this stillness and presence that you want to know the truth. If your heart desires the truth, you will see it. And when you see it, it won't be so scary, because you'll know that if that's your truth, that's what you're meant to do all along. And if you're meant to do it, you'll get through. You'll get through the hard moments. You'll get through the uncomfortable times. You'll get through heartbreak. You'll get through loss. You'll get through this momentary feeling of fear. Seek the truth and you will find it. Practice stillness and practice presence, because that's where it is. The second reason you're unfulfilled is that you're seeking fulfillment in a person, place, thing, or destination, not realizing that fulfillment is actually in the present moment deep within you. It's found in gratitude for life. It's found in beauty, in nature, in true connection with other souls. It's found in the small moments. There's this movie called Soul, and it's a Pixar animated movie. And Megan, she actually shared this movie with me last night, and I watched it. And it was a literal animated version of the way that I see life and how and why I live life the way that I do. And even like, I feel like it even showed my purpose in this movie. And I want to mention it because I think one, everyone should go watch the movie. But two, in this movie, there's this point and there's this time where this, soul, he thinks that his whole purpose in life is to be the best pianist, right? And to be the best jazz player. And I think so often we all do this thing where we tie our purpose to what it is that we're currently doing in our life, to our career, right? We're like, I am meant to be a nurse. I am meant to be a lawyer, a doctor, and that's my purpose and my fulfillment. And what happens is in this movie, he gets to this place that he has worked for so long. He's worked for so long to get to this one place in his life. And he gets there. He plays this amazing recital. There's so much, there's the audience that's cheering and they're applauding and it's incredible. And then after the moment, he sits there and he's like, this doesn't feel like I thought it would feel. I thought that in this moment, I would have this fulfillment. I would have the satisfaction that I've been looking for all along. And then there's another moment in the movie a little bit later where he's playing piano and he's simply reminded of all of these little moments in life where he tasted a piece of pizza, which I felt on a spiritual level, and the happiness and the joy that brought him in that moment where, he's with a friend, where he's in nature and experiencing just fresh breath and fresh air. And he's riding his bike and puts his arms up in the air. And it just shows how in all these little moments that is the fruitfulness of life, that is the purpose of life, that is the sweet fulfillment of life. And so often we tie our fulfillment and our purpose to people and places and things, all these things that can be ever changing. And the truth is the fulfillment and the satisfaction, everything that people look for, it's been there all along. People just don't have the perspective to see it. They miss it. They miss all of these beautiful moments of life because they're so busy in getting somewhere, not realizing that today is the only day that you have. And what if it's your last day? Do you think you were really designed to just chase something that's always fleeting, to chase this dangling carrot that always moves? No, you're missing it. Like you're missing the beauty and the fruitfulness of life that's literally right in front of you. How can you enjoy life today? How can you look around at the little moments in life, whether it's a wave at a stranger, it's the breath of fresh air and being out in nature. It's the sun against your skin. It's a kiss from a puppy. It's a hug from a loved one. It's all these little moments that are just the most beautiful parts of life. Don't allow these beautiful expressions of love and fulfillment to pass you by. Don't think that fulfillment is in a destination. If you think it's in a destination, you are going to just run past all these beautiful moments of life. And when you're on your deathbed one day, you're going to look back and say, man, I wish I would have enjoyed those moments a little bit more. I wish I would have hugged that person a little bit longer. I wish I would have taken a 12-minute walk instead of a 10-minute walk. I wish I would have looked at the flowers and the birds and the squirrels around me as I was walking instead of being buried inside of my phone, watching other people live life. Don't watch other people live life. Get out there and live your life. Soak it up. Soak up the fullness and the beauty of what life has to offer, because it is so full and it is so beautiful, even right now. The third reason you're unfulfilled in life is because you're not connected to the creator of your soul, to source, to God. Because of that, you lack spiritual insight, spiritual perspective, faith, hope, understanding that can carry you through things and seasons of life that don't always make sense in physical world reality. Because you are disconnected, your vision is blurry. Sometimes there is no vision. And when you are connected, there's a peace that overcomes you, even in the middle of a storm. There's a lot of people that they lack this spiritual side of themselves. And it's not that it's not there, but maybe they've never been taught how to feed that part of themselves. There's this scripture and it says this is our daily bread. Like, please give me my daily bread, so to speak, in the spiritual realm. And you got to look at that. It says daily bread. It doesn't say weekly bread. It doesn't say bread here and there. It says daily bread. So just like your body needs physical nutrition every single day, yeah, it can survive for a few days without it, right? But every day we give our body nutrition so that we can function optimally. Your spiritual side, it needs that spiritual food every single day. And there's so many different ways that you can feed yourself spiritually. It doesn't always mean just prayer or reading or, journaling or all these different things and modalities people use to feed their spirit. But feeding your spirit could be doing the things that light your heart on fire and chasing those things. It could be actually hard moments too. Feeding your spirit could be having a hard conversation with a loved one with the goal of reconciliation, with the goal of forgiveness. That feeds your spirit. Things that take away from your spirit are these low vibrational things like anger and bitterness and resentment and toxicity. So recognize where in your life you have those things. You actually have those things inside of your heart, and you got to work to get rid of those things. Also recognize who and what in your life is toxic, anger, bitter, resentful. And you got to get away from those things and those people, because those things will bring death to your soul. You feel unfulfilled because you're disconnected from source. We were designed to have God inside of us. We were designed to be in communion with God. And people talk about this in different ways that make sense to their perspective. So I hope that as you listen to this, even if you are unsure that God is real and you haven't experienced that yet for yourself, I hope that you will keep an open mind and understand that you were created to be in communion and relationship with your source, with where you came from. So sometimes and often that unfulfillment comes because you have done a lot in your life. You have achieved a lot of success. You've achieved the career and the relationship, and you feel really good about what you're doing. You even feel purposeful in what you're doing in life. But there's this longing in your soul and in your desires that's unfulfilled. And if you look at your spiritual life, you'll see that there's a hunger for something. There's a hunger for a deep, soulful, spiritual connection that nobody and nothing can fulfill except for where it was that you came from, the creator of your soul. So I encourage you that if this is you and you're listening to this, to start making your spiritual life a priority of yours. There's so many different modalities that you can choose to do to start to feed this part of yourself. And I encourage you to step out and to start feeding yourself in this way. There's a lot of things that I share in my spiritual walk and in my faith and things that I've come into knowing for myself. One of those very basic elements being that I know that God is real. I have experienced God. I have experience with him. And so I encourage other people to go on your own journey and get that experience for yourself, because there is nothing and there is absolutely nothing that anyone in this world could say to convince me of what I know. I had to have my own knowing and my own experience for me to sit where I'm at right now today. Even if God never spoke to me again, even if God never did anything for my life ever again, which he's the best, like he's so much better than we know, and he has so much more planned for me. But even if he never did anything again, I would die knowing that God is real and die knowing that that's where I return. There's no fear in death for me. There's no fear in a lot of the things in this world, because I know where I end up. And I know that it's back to my source, back to my creator, back to God. And it's so beautiful and so fulfilling. I've experienced like the tip of the iceberg, and that was everything and more. So I can't even imagine what lies ahead, what waits for us. And guys, there's a lot of questions that I have unanswered. There's a lot of things that I don't know, but it's crazy how I know the tiniest little thing, and that's all that I need. That's all that I need to know. I have faith. I have hope. I have encouragement. I have courage. I'm able to stand strong in where I am and how I believe. And it all is at the root of that is my faith. So I encourage you guys that if you're lacking this and you feel like this longing inside of your heart for this deep spiritual knowing, to go and seek it out. Just like everything else that I've talked about in this episode, if you seek truth, you will find it. Similarly, God says if you seek him with your entire heart, like your entire heart just desires to know the truth, he will reveal himself to you. A really easy way to do that is simply just to get alone in stillness and open your heart to him and say, God, if you're real, I want to know. If you're real, show me. And he will. It's literally that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. There are many more reasons why maybe you might feel unfulfilled, but I do believe that these are 3 of the most common reasons. So if you listen to this podcast and it is speaking to your heart and it's causing some sort of feeling inside of you, I encourage you to write down what your takeaway was after this episode and journal about it, and then decide, okay, now what am I going to do about it? What kind of actions am I going to take so I can take steps away from this unfulfilled life and into the fulfillment that already exists for me? Fulfillment, abundance, peace, joy, happiness, deep connection, these things all exist for you 100%. So don't believe the lie that they don't. And now your job, your opportunity, is that you get to take steps towards that. And just know that with every little step, it may seem little, it may seem insignificant right now, but over the course of a longer period of time, these things are going to build up. And you're going to look back saying, oh my gosh, I'm in a completely different spot now. I'm so glad that on that day when I listened to that podcast episode, that I made 3 action steps for myself. And I'm so glad that the next day I executed on one of those action steps for myself. So don't allow this to just be something that inspires you for a moment. Allow this to be the moment that you decided that you want to know what's true, that you want to seek the fulfillment that already exists for you, and that you take action consistently on these things. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If today's episode helped you in any way, please do me a favor. Share the episode with a friend, text it, share it in your Instagram stories, tag the podcast page. It's at Evolve with Emily Podcast. We'll do our best to repost some of your takeaways and your insights. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.